Hello and welcome to the USA New Times. Here are today's top stories shaping Africa and beyond. On February 11 and 12 in 2026, a foreign minister and officials senior from across the continent convened in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia for the 48th Ordinary Session of the African Union AU Executive Council, setting the stage of the upcoming 39th AU Assembly of Heads of States and Governments. The Council is reviewing draft decision and policy frameworks focused on government reform, institutional effectiveness, peace and security priorities, and Africa's representation in a global platform, including G20. Officials are also accessing progress on Agenda 2063, the AU's long-term development blueprint aimed at accelerating economic integration, infrastructure development, industrialization, and youth empowerment. In opening remarks, AU leaders emphasized the needs for greater continental coordination and self-reliance amid shifting global economic geopolitical dynamics, underscoring effort to strengthen Africa's collective voice in international affairs. On February 10th, 2026, a devastating mass shooting at Chumba Ridge Secondary School in Chumba Ridge, British Columbia, left at least 10 people dead, including the suspected shooter, and more than 24 wounded, marking one of the deadliest school attacks in Canadian history, according to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police (RCMP). Officers were alerted to an active shooter around 1:20 p.m. local time, and upon entering the school found multiple victims. 6 were found dead inside the building, and one more died while being transported to the hospital, while 2 additional victims were later found deceased at nearly residence believed to be connected to the incident. RCMP Superintendent Ken Ford said this has been the incredibly difficult and emotional day for our community, noting swift cooperation of first responders, while police confirmed the suspected shooter died of a self-inflicted injury and that there was no ongoing threat to the public. A school in the area were placed lockdown and later evacuated, and the authorities continue to support families and investigate the motive behind the attack. Cuba's energy crisis deepened sharply in February 2026 as a civil aviation fuel shortage forced major carriers, including Air Canada, to suspend or adjust flights to Caribbean nation, compounding strain on its already fragile economy. Cuban aviation authorities issued notice to air missions warning that Jet A1 fuel would not be available at 9 international airports from February 10 through at least March 11, prompting Air Canada to halt passenger service and land empty ferry flight over the coming days to repatriate roughly 3,000 customers stranded on the island. Seasonal routes to Halloween and Santa Clara were canceled entirely, and even year-round service to Varadero and Cayo Coco were paused pending possible May 1st restart. The unprecedented fuel shortfall tied to cut-offs in oil shipments, especially from Venezuela, and heightened the USA sanction that threatened tariffs on countries supplying fuel to Cuba, has also pushed other Canadian carriers such as WestJet, Air Transat, and Sunwings to suspend or wind down Cuba flights, a major blow to the tourism sector that depends heavily on Canadian visitors. Cuba officials have linked the crisis to long-standing external pressure and domestic shortage, warning that the disruption are likely to ripple through transport, tourism, and broader economic activities. On February 11, 2026, the Philippine authorities confirmed that the death toll from the January 26th sinking of the passenger vessel Trisha Christine 3 off the coast of the southwestern Mindanao has risen to at least 53 after drivers recovered additional bodies from the submerged lake. The Philippines Coast Guard said such teams continue to face a strong current and limited visibility while investigation and examining whether the boat was carrying more passengers than allowed. We are looking into reports that the vessel may have been overloaded. A regional maritime official told local media, adding that verifying the final passenger manifest remain a priority. Maritime safety enforcement in the Philippines on archipelago heavily reliant on sea transport where overloading and weather-related incidents have contributed to past ferry disasters. On February 11, 2026, South Korea authorities launched coordinate raids across 18 locations in Seoul and surrounding areas as a part of joint military policy investigation into allegations that civilians had carried out authorized drone flight into Northern Korea territory. Officials said the probe aims to determine whether the flight violated aviation safety laws and national security regulation and heightened inter-Korean tension. A defense ministry spokesperson stated that authorities are taking the matter serious given the potential security implications, while police confirmed that they had seized electronic equipment and flight records for analysis. The operation underscored growing concern in Seoul over freelance or activist lead cross-border actions that could escalate already fragile relations with Pyongyang.